של פקודי. שבת מברכים חודש ניסן הבא עלינו לטובה. Today, the 24th day of Adar, responding to the 20th day of March 2020. I take the opportunity to let the Kahal know that today is my Hebrew birthday. So therefore, I'm wishing everybody, as our rabbis tell us, that a day of a person's birthday is definitely a very special day in the person's life. So I bless you that everyone, Be'ezat Hashem, wherever you may be blessed and healthy and protected, and Be'ezat Hashem, may Hashem reverse all these challenging moments that mankind is experiencing. I really have so many things in front of me to share and to speak to the Kahal Kadosh, and Be'ezat Hashem will try to do everything accordingly. Let's start with how Shabbat should be in our home. I'm sure that by now everybody knows and heard how all halachic opinions, most likely, if not all, 99.9.5, are telling us, stay home for Shabbat. Do not organize scattered minyanim, even 10 people in a room, etc. And the rabbis are all utilizing from America, from Israel, from South Florida, the topic of pikuach nefesh, the topic of preserving life, which is definitely, we can call it, one of the most powerful and fundamental mitzvot of our Torah, that supersedes Shabbat, supersedes Kippur, does not supersede simple mitzvot, but actually key mitzvot of our Torah. So we respectfully ask everyone to plan accordingly, to be spending Shabbat at home, together with the wife, together with the family. I know that it's very difficult for many parents and grandparents to welcome the grandchildren at home. I'm sure that it's very difficult for some families that are accustomed to have many guests or a few guests coming Shabbat to their home. At this moment, you and only you and your immediate family needs to activate this particular biblical and Torah commandment known as Ushmartem me'ot lenafshotechem. We need to take care of our health tremendously. It is important to pinpoint that the pasuk concerning matzot, the pasuk says, Ushmartem et hamatzot, watch the matzah. And yet when it comes to health, the pasuk says, Ushmartem me'od et nafshotechem. Ushmartem me'od. Me'on means a lot. Not only matzah needs to be protected, but on a much greater level, the health of a person needs to be protected. So therefore, we are not encouraging private minyanim. Prayer should be done at home. And I'm sure that the Kahal has a lot of questions how to proceed when you pray Shabbat at home. So please allow me to go, hopefully step by step, in order to clarify some of these halachic challenges. Thank you very, very much. Now, number one, concerning Shabbat, there are two ways accepting the Shabbat. Number one, it's called the early Shabbat, something that many communities do worldwide, especially during the time of the spring and summer, in order to have a more meaningful Shabbat meal with the wife and children. They welcome the Shabbat early. How early is a person allowed to welcome the Shabbat? When I say welcoming the Shabbat, in this case means candle lighting for Shabbat. And how early can the husband begin Kabbalat Shabbat? Licha dodi likra kala mizmor leDavid. That is what I'm referring to. Now, there halacha is clear. Pelag haminha. Now, pelag haminha, it varies based on the city. So according to our times in Miami, I repeat, in Miami, pelag haminha today is 6:14. Meaning to say, the wife can light the candles and the husband can start Kabbalat Shabbat, followed by Arvit and Kiddush by 6:14. Before that, you're not allowed to. Now, usually, this concept of welcoming Shabbat early, the Halacha says, is applicable when it comes to the minyan. In other words, there is a group of people, and I show you here our tentative schedule that we prepared a week in advance. You'll see early Shabbat, regular Shabbat. Obviously, this was not posted anywhere because, regretfully, we're not going to have the shul. But basically, the early Shabbat usually is done whenever there is a minyan. But what about our particular case this year? This Shabbat Bayakhel Pekudeh, Shabbat Perashat HaChodesh. So I had the same question as you have. People are at home, and as the hours are going by, and I'm not sure how it's up north, but here in the city of Aventura, besides imposing a night curfew, also many stores are obligated to be closed with the exception of non-essential business. So people like to do an early Shabbat meal so they can eat, relax, and obviously with a beautiful presence and holiness of Shabbat. So I contacted yesterday HAEM David Yosef Shelita from Yehavedat Harnof, and I posed to him this particular question. And his answer to me was that based on these circumstances, even a person praying alone at their home without the presence of the minyan, a person is allowed to welcome the Shabbat early. For those up north in the New York, New Jersey area, check in your shul's calendar or myzemanim.com and look for the halachic time known as Pelag Haminha, and that will give you the time. So the husband at home can do Shira Shirim, can do Minha, and then when 6:14 comes in Miami at least, do Kabbalat Shabbat, followed by Arvit, and followed by the Kiddush. Now, concerning the candle lighting, and I know that I did say this yesterday, but I think I'll reinforce it now. Give, for the wonderful ladies, give tzedakah before candle lighting, and make your own prayer or your own personal prayer in your own words, in your own language. Not only pray for whatever you pray for every Friday afternoon at home, but actually add a few lines, a few sentences that HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Hashem, in His infinite mercy, reveal the ultimate goodness of whatever is happening. For sure there is some goodness, if not some, I would like to remove the word. I'm sure there is everything is goodness, but I'm sure that many people ask questions. How could it be? How did it happen? What happened to science? What happened to technology? What happened to planning? So I think that God, in a nutshell, is telling us, I am in the driver's seat. And that is one of the things that emunah and bitachon shows us. Emunah literally means faith. Bitachon in plain English means activating our faith. You know, there is no coincidence that the first of the two Perashiot Bayakhel talks about how Moshe Rabbeinu gathers all the Jewish people, and the first commandment given in this week's Torah portion is about this observing the Shabbat. And I have no doubts in my mind that worldwide, for the first time in many years, that the observance of the Shabbat will be magnified in an unbelievable way. As the Midrashim tells us, not how much the person observes or guards or watches the Shabbat, but how the Shabbat protects and guards the person. I heard the following statement in the name of one of the great Mekubalim from the city of Tiberia, Rabbi Cook Shelita. And he says that a person, when they're going to drink the wine of Shabbat or grape juice, especially Friday night, in their mind, or to say in verbally before the Kiddush, may this wine bring refuah shelema. May this wine brings healing to the body. He implied openly and clearly that the wine a person drinks for the Kiddush, it brings healing to the human body. As the Pasuk says, Dam Anavim. Dam means blood. Anavim means grapes. Now, what's the relationship between blood and grapes? You may say, Rabbi, come on, you said this 3 months ago, that the color of the wine is red, and red represents the color of blood, and blood represents the color of judgment, and you add water into the wine. The water is from the heaven in order to mitigate the judgment that the color of the wine represents. All that is good, and we agree on that, and I'm sure that everybody is aware of this. But the great rabbi said that this pasuk is telling us, Dam Anavim, that the blood of the person can be healed through the Kiddush of Friday night especially. Now, I'm not telling you not to take your medicines that the doctor prescribed to you for whatever reason. You may need to take some type of medicine, but what I'm trying to say is that even the zechut of a mitzvah of a kiddush can tilt the scale for the benefit of the person. And guess what? The entire Jewish world and the entire humanity is in ICU today. Irrelevant of who you are, irrelevant where you live, irrelevant where you drive, irrelevant your bank account, you are in, we are, not you, we are in ICU. No synagogues, no learning, no shopping, no going out. The Parnassah challenge is coming up. Between yesterday and today, the amount of people that call for Pesach help has been doubled already, and it only is going to increase, which can look at it in many different ways. But one of the ways we can look at it is we have another opportunity to help people, especially for those that regretfully are experiencing at the onset of this challenging situation that we don't know where it is going to end. I hope that it ends in the next second or in the next minute, and I hope that Mashiach comes right away. So let's continue. So you're praying at home. So the next question that's going to come up is the beracha of Me'en Sheba. We know that in the synagogues we say after the Amidah Shabbat night, Vaychulu Hashamayim ve'haaretz, and then we say Magen Avot Bidbaro Elokeinu v'Elokei Avotenu. These final 2 paragraphs after Vaychulu in Arvit Friday night prayer, since we do not have a minyan, you would not say it. Just finish Vaychulu, Asher bara Elokim la'asot, Mizmor leDavid Hashem ro'i lo yachsar, Arvit, and then continue with Shalom Aleichem, Eshet Hayil, sing, talk, converse, shmooze. Try to make the Shabbat the most beautiful Shabbat experience that you can. Why? One short answer. Because Shabbat has the key to expedite Mashiach's arrival. So after you finish, just for the record, if a lady needs to go to the mikveh tonight, Shabbat night, we don't follow the leniency that perhaps may be observed in many cities throughout the world of allowing early dipping, especially since there are a lot of halachic requirements that need to be met, and one of them is that for those authorities who may allow going to the mikveh on a Friday afternoon, when the wife comes home, the husband must not be in the home, and regretfully in our situation, the husband will be at home. So my suggestion is that anyone who needs to go to the mikveh on Friday night. For the wonderful ladies, contact your local Orthodox rabbi and he will guide you accordingly. On a different note, if a person, instead of welcoming the Shabbat early, wants to welcome the Shabbat regularly, it is fine. Just follow the same halachic guidelines of the prayer and have a beautiful, beautiful Sa'udah with your wife, with your family, or whoever may be at home. Next day, Shabbat morning, what do? You wake up, standard procedure like Shabbat, put on talit, say the prayers. For those that wake up very early, be advised that there is a time that the talit can be put on. According to the time of Miami, I hope I have it here, it will be at approximately so if it's at 6, like around 6 o'clock, like around 7 o'clock Miami time, give or take. Now, one question that came virtually before we go with Shabbat morning is, what about men going to the mikveh? So we're not going to discuss the topic of mikveh, yes or not, but I'll tell you what's going on in our city, that the men's mikvehs are closed. The ladies' mikvehs are open until further notice with many additional precautions, which I'm not going to discuss at this time, but I'm telling you what we do in our mikveh, and Be'ezat Hashem, we pray to the Almighty that everything that we are doing is accurate and proper, and even though it may sound a bit excessive, but when it comes to people's life, it's imperative that we follow protocol. Now, concerning men's mikveh, there is no men's mikveh open, I believe, anywhere in the world today, most likely. So the Ben Ish Chai gives the formula that a person washes the hands 40 times or stands under the shower for 3 or 4 minutes, and that will be sufficient. I'm not going to go through the whole procedure today. I believe that I shared this in the Kahal, with the Kahal in the past. Let's continue Shabbat morning. You come and you make the tefillah, make the prayers. Now, when it comes to Sefer Torah, obviously there is no Sefer Torah, there is no minyan. So what are you going to do? You're going to open up the Humash, read the Perashiot, and be ready, because this Shabbat we have 2 Perashiot. We have Vayakhel Pekudeh, and then we have Perashat HaChodesh. And the Haftarah that you're going to read at home will be the Haftarah of Perashat HaChodesh, which is found in all of the Humashim. After you finish your tefillah, you'll do Musaf, and then you sit down for breakfast or lunch, depends on the time, if you're going to pray very early or mid-morning, etc. So definitely, as the great Rabbi Osher Weiss from Yerushalayim Eira Kodesh said earlier today, that, many people are very concerned about the lack of minyanim. And he was, again, powerful in the sense of saying, don't look at this as a deficiency that you don't have a minyan, but look at it as an opportunity that nobody is rushing you, and you are able to take a few extra moments of tefillah or singing during the tefillah. Again, what the people see it as a source of darkness, we see it as a source of light and as a source of bonding. And guess what? How many of us rush through the prayer because society dictates that we must rush? And if Shaharit takes more than XYZ minute, we are already black hats or Talibans or extremists, the way regretfully people utilize this term without understanding that they are insulting and creating differences in Am Israel, which at this moment, when the coronavirus affects, he doesn't select between religious or non-religious, Jew or Gentile, Sephardic or Ashkenazic. We are all on the same boat. So therefore, Rabotai, I'll take the opportunity to say, as the great rabbi said earlier in Jerusalem, take the opportunity to pray nicer. Take the opportunity to take a few moments and try to understand the prayers. Add extra prayers during the Shabbat. As Hacham David Yosef said yesterday, increase in the reading of Tehillim, sing some songs on the Shabbat table. Don't let the situation, God forbid, to turn our Shabbat into a Tisha B'Av. Because even when Tisha B'Av, God forbid, happens on a Shabbat, what is the halacha? We celebrate Shabbat. We eat meat, we drink wine, we sing songs, etc. So I beg you, don't look at the Shabbat with disdain. Don't look at the Shabbat with a negative set of eyes. Look at the Shabbat as another link to connect with the Almighty, but also a stepping stone to expedite Mashiach's arrival. Needless to say that although there is an early Shabbat welcoming, but there is no early Shabbat departing, God forbid. A person must finish the Shabbat. No, maybe some people want to be mahmir. They want to do the early Shabbat and they want to do early Mosai Shabbat. God forbid. God forbid there is no early Mosai Shabbat. There is regular Mosai Shabbat or Rabbeinu Tam Mosai Shabbat. The end of Shabbat in Miami will be tomorrow evening at 8:10. Rabbeinu Tam Miami time will be at 8:41. After you have lunch and you took a nap, and hopefully you got up, you read Tehillim, you read some commentaries on the Torah portion, etc. Talk to the wife, talk to your kids, etc., which I'm sure that we all are in Mahmir and we are doing more than before, since the fact that we need to be confined at home most of the time. So comes the moment of Sa'udah Shelishit. So we'll clarify. Do Minha first, and then do Sa'udah Shelishit. That's what Rabbeinu Hari writes, that Sa'udah Shelishit takes place after praying Minha. For Miami times, Sa'udah Shelishit must begin before 7:30 in the afternoon. Why? Because once you start Shekiah, it's a problem to start with a Sa'udah. And since we're going to be at home, so everybody should be able to follow the proper halachic times of all of these mitzvot. And then when it comes to Arvit, after Sa'udah Shelishit, you can do Arvit a few minutes before 8:10. So you finish 8:10, and then you're able to say the Havdalah for you and your wife and your children, or whoever may be standing in your home. Now, I'd like to share with the Kahal Kadosh a couple of special halachic rulings that were given in Eretz Israel yesterday in the name of Hacham Ishak Yosef. And the first thing he writes is that we must follow all the medical protocol that we are giving, including closing the synagogues and not organizing things, etc. And Be'ezat Hashem, Hashem should have the merit, Hashem should bless us, the merit of listening to the sound of the great shofar. And it says as follows, that a person, this is very critical, a person that is waiting for the results of the coronavirus, and anyone affected by the coronavirus should leave the phone on Shabbat to be able to see the caller ID, to see if it's coming from the medical center or the hospital, and then the person will be halachically allowed to answer and to listen to the report to see if there is a danger. Because if God forbid, lo alenu velo alechem, the result is positive, the person must run to the hospital. I have the letter of the great rabbi, black and white, 2 pages of rules and regulations of how to handle the different halachic matters that are coming across our way. And it says, there is no doubt that anyone that is affected by the corona must leave the cell phone on to answer. And if a person sees that the phone call is coming from the Kupat Holim or the medical center, etc., he is able to be aware of his condition and to know where to go. And even if there is a doubt, in other words, sometimes the system, the way they are set up, may say no caller ID or unknown caller. So your question is, hold on, unknown caller may be marketing. The great rabbi said, כשיש ספק, עם השיחה יש לענות. And even if there is a doubt, if this call, it's coming from a medical center or the doctor or the hospital or the CDC or the drive-through testing, the many cities are opening now, the great rabbi said, yesh la'anot, you must answer. You know what's the most beautiful thing of all of this is? That we have an opportunity, as I said yesterday, to listen to our hachamim. Even though it may not make sense. What, Rabbi, you're telling me answer the phone? And I repeat, this is talking about only to two types of people. One that did the testing and yet the results did not come in. And we know that this does not happen overnight. I believe it takes 3 days or 5 days in some cases. I don't know that as much, but I'm telling you that it's not immediate, etc. So now imagine yourself, the person is at home. If God forbid the person is diagnosed that the person has it, that person must run to the hospital. So that's the beauty of our halacha. Al pi ha-Torah asher yorucha. And the great rabbi, and I only gave you the short version of the 12 points that he brings, and it says, it is permissible to desecrate a Shabbat when it comes to matters of life and death in order to be able to observe many Shabbatot in the year. That is what the Gemara in Masechet Yomah brings down. And as the Pasuk also says, Ela mizvot asher ya'aseh ha'adam b'hai bahem. The commandments are given for the person to live by, and not, God forbid, the opposite. Needless to say, that someone that Baruch Hashem doesn't have the fear of the corona because it's waiting, or God forbid, a person that does not have, Be'ezat Hashem, the coronavirus, phones, put them away, hide them, laptops. But you want to know what's going on? What's going to be the difference? Nothing. Don't forget that news channels, they are a huge factor in part to what's going on here. Not because they, God forbid, they cast, but they are spreading a tremendous amount of panic or fear. And again, we're not telling you don't follow the news, don't follow the CDC. Follow the CDC, not the NBC. You understand the difference? Follow the protocol. Like Hatzalah, I'm going to say something that is not popular or pleasant to say in a moment, but I have to do it because we are in Florida, and I was asked by the rabbinate of South Florida to share this with the Kahal at large. So Hatzalah, so let me finish the thought before. So, guess what? Observe the Shabbat. Celebrate the Shabbat. Disconnect to connect. As Rabbi Wallerstein said in the past. Put the machines away. Celebrate the Shabbat with happiness and joy. And as Rabbeinu Hari said 2 days ago, fear, God forbid, attracts more fear. And that weakens the mechanism of the human body and exposes the person to become affected by the unknown. You understand? Beautiful. Now, I have in front of me a document that has been signed and approved by 24 Hachamim of South Florida, as well as 24 doctors of the community, begging the Kahal Kadosh to be following the protocols of every aspect given by the CDC, by the states, by the Department of Health, etc. You have here the document. I believe that our Kahal and whoever is registered in our email list will be getting it. If not, you already got it earlier today. But there is one particular request from Hatzalah of South Florida and the rabbinate in Miami. What I'm going to say now, I'm going to say it with pain. I am not happy that I have to say such a thing, but if I'm allowed to break the Shabbat for the fear of the virus, I'm allowed to say what we are going to say. We respectfully ask to the crowd of the northeast of the United States, avoid coming to Florida for Pesach. Many people are contacting me directly. Rabbi, is it safe to come? Will the shul be open? You know, my answer is, I don't know if the shul it is going to be open. I'm doing all my work behind the scenes, literature, schedules, etc., because the halachot don't really change. But as far as concerned, what's going to be next by us, we don't know. We hope and pray that by Pesach we are in Jerusalem. And if Chas v'Shalom we are not in Jerusalem with the Bet HaMikdash, we're going to be here. Will the shul be open? I hope and pray that the government gives the permission and eases out a couple of things. But as one great doctor said yesterday, the more we are careful with our social distance and everything that needs to be done, we are minimizing the spreading of this condition. Now, you may ask, Rabbi, what's the problem coming to Florida? Very simple. I have to tell you that regretfully in the past 48 hours, or since last Sunday till today, South Florida has 3 digits cases, perhaps reaching already 500, when in the beginning of the week we only had 40 or 50. And now regretfully, as the test results are coming out, we are seeing spread all over. And regretfully, I cannot say that the city of Aventura does not have some case. I cannot say that with certainty. I hope and pray that our city is clear in this, but regretfully, I cannot say that with 100% in my mind. Not only that, Kahal Kadosh, we are very welcoming. And you and I, for years, has been coming to Pesach, winter break, intercession, Hanukkah, the season. But at this moment, Florida hospitals, and especially Miami hospitals, regretfully, don't have mega capacity to have additional influx of cases, God forbid. Also remember, according to the Hatzalah statement, and a known fact is that Florida has a mega size of golden age citizens. Golden age means 70 years and up, which makes them more prone, Chas v'Shalom, to a weaker immune system. So in a nutshell, what the Hatzalah with the rabbinate and the doctors and medical fields specialists, they are saying, Ashrei Yosheve Betecha, stay home. This way, you're going to be able to be in your Arba'a Amot, in your confine, in your domain, And Be'ezat Hashem, we are minimizing all the stress that this situation brings upon us. And I repeat, I just said this with pain. People are asking, what about Orlando? I'm not a mashgiach of Orlando, but I'll tell you one thing, that Hatzalah will not be functioning in Orlando like they have done in the past. Hatzalah is concentrating all the efforts in South Florida, and Be'ezat Hashem, I hope they don't have additional calls to attend more than the standard need for basic medical situations. Number one. Number two, you're going to go to Orlando into a home. Who knows who organized the home, who sterilized the home? All the amusement parks in Orlando are closed. Lo aleno velo alechem. There was a case yesterday that somebody that came from California and went to Universal Studios here in Orlando. Regretfully today, this person is buried 6 feet under. So we cannot minimize the powerful statement that Hatzalah Miami is given to the entire audience. I apologize in advance if anybody from the audience feels a bit offended or a bit uncomfortable with what I just said, but at this moment, if we are allowed to cancel kolelim, yeshivot, Torah learning, and minyanim, I am definitely, and Sefer Torah, I am definitely allowed to say the statement that I said. But on the bright side, and I like to take the opportunity publicly to say a big Hazak Ubaruch to the man behind the scenes, Rico from iTorah.com, and as well as our IT that wishes to remain anonymous from the Lighthouse Torah Project, and for Mr. Morris Dweck and Abraham up north, and everyone involved to allow us remotely not only to broadcast live this particular class, but all the beautiful shiurim that are lined up in iTorah.com. Also a big Hazak Ubaruch to Mike Ben Melech from the Lighthouse Torah Project, and definitely I'd like to include Torah anytime for all the wonderful work that they did and they are doing. And I'll finish with the following statement. Number one, iTorah.com this coming Sunday at 6:30 will be broadcasting a live Selihot prayer. Selihot like we do in Elul between Rosh Hashanah and Kippur. So this coming Sunday, 6:30, you're going to be able to watch live from iTorah.com Selihot. Be'ezat Hashem, we will, God willing, broadcast live again this coming Sunday morning at approximately 9:15 for the iTorah.com and the Lighthouse Torah Project live video feed. My dear friends, the Gemara in the Daf Yomi of 2 days ago, it tells us about Hamebaker et ha'chole, a person that goes and visit a sick person. When it comes to Shabbat, you say to the person, Shabbat him li'ok, urfuah keroba lavo. Says the Gemara, Shabbat he milis'ok. The day of the Shabbat, we don't wail, we don't cry, we don't yell, and the healing will become speedily. Our Talmudic commentators tells us that the zechut of the Shabbat brings healing to the human body and to the soul. So let us hope and pray that Be'ezat Hashem, the zechut of this Shabbat about to start in a few hours, that I am sure that will be a most memorable Shabbat in which I would like to say the Jewish world will be at home. Even those that, as of now, they may not observe the Shabbat or welcome the Shabbat properly, today we are being told, stay home. Be'atem lo teseu ish mipetach beto. The Pasuk tells us in the 10th plague, don't leave the home. The home of the person is a miniature Bet HaMikdash. The home of the person is a place of sanctity, is a place of holiness. The Gemara in today's, or yesterday and today's Daf Yomi, just to finish up, I know I do have 2 minutes according to my clock, that we have the Gemara in the Daf Yomi talks about the concept of hands, the washing of the hands. The Gemara in the Daf Yomi talks about how Shlomo HaMelech literally established the takana of washing of the hands for the many cases that we discussed in the past. And the Gemara says, Yadayim askaniot hen. What is the CDC telling us now? Wash your hands. Rabotai, we need to understand that the more we think about this condition, the more we understand that God is in the driver's seat. And I'll finish with this. How do you call the day of Shabbat? Shabbat Malketa. The queen name has Shabbat. What is the main important garment of the queen or the king? The crown. Corona. Corona is crown. Maybe Borei Olam is telling us, I want to see you more. I want to date with you. Crown me together. So Be'ezat Hashem, the zechut of this Shabbat, mevarchim Chodesh Nisan. Benisan igalu, ubenisan atidim leigael. Like in the month of Nisan, we were redeemed. Be'ezat Hashem, in the month of Nisan coming up, Thursday, Wednesday evening, Thursday, Be'ezat Hashem, Borei Olam send the Yeshua to everyone. Amen. Shabbat Shalom umevorach to everybody.